Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding. Mountain. I'm kind of pumped up today because I had a whole pizza yesterday, so that's what you do. You just eat pizza all the time and get pumped up. I'm kidding. You don't eat pizza all the time and get pumped up. But you know, once in a while you can get away with doing that. So today what I want to talk to you about is the purpose of a workout program and different ways that you can stimulate the body. Now, although I've talked about this subject before, I've never framed it in this way. So please pay attention. Even if you've tuned in my videos and stuff, just pay attention to what I'm going to say. And perhaps you'll get something out of it. I'm in the middle of the woods and I'm trying to talk and it's a traffic jam up here. I don't get it. So let's get right to it. Basically, a workout program is to stimulate the body so that it grows or gets better at performance in some way, shape, or form and adapts. But ultimately, we can agree that if a workout program breaks you, it cannot be the right program because a broken body doesn't really work that well or doesn't really perform that well. So inevitably, it countermines, is that the word? Or works in opposition to what your true goal is, which is performance and muscular strength or muscular size or performance of the body. And basically well-being has to go with that. So one thing I found is that there are a lot of workout programs that speak about intensity, such as, you know, the HIIT method or whatever. Like you basically have to just kill yourself in one set and take that set to as deep a failure as you can, even if you have to puke and shit at the same time. This is going to be the right way to establish some sort of adaptation of the body. Now, I agree that intensity can play a role and you must hit intense periods at times in order for the body to adapt. But one could say that you can only do that so much, right? And that's why some of these programs include massive periods of rest in between. And like I said, sometimes that can be also counterproductive because you're outside the environment for so long that then it becomes a shock every time your body goes back into that intense type of training. But either way, I am on board with being super intense and going deep into failure in your sets for periods of time, right? Sometimes you could do a program like that for weeks or months, and even doing a higher frequency program. I mean, I would go deep into failure as much as I could for a long period of time. Now, the other form of intensity is using high intense weight or resistance, which means high amounts of weight or lower rep ranges, which we know will really work the fast twitch fibers and it'll work the nervous system, but it will wreak havoc on the joints over a period of time because the joints do take a deeper beating from using such heavy poundages. So these techniques work, right? Deep into failure, regardless of whether you're using heavy weight or lighter weights or whatever, that causes an adaptation and causes the body to have to recuperate from all the muscular damage. And then there's also the heavyweight sort of side of things where you are causing a lot of damage to certain tissues in the body, and therefore the body says, hey, I have to adapt to this. But after a certain period of time, and most people know this as overtraining, this may start to work against you, where you start to notice that you plateau or your body's finally hit its limit of recuperation ability. It just cannot manifest the nutrients and the blood flow, and it cannot keep up with the muscular damage or tendon damage or joint damage, and therefore you start to work backwards, right? It's like you're investing a lot, but you're getting very little return, if not getting no return at all, or basically kind of like investing in a business, you're actually losing money, right? So what I'm trying to say is that these types of training programs are effective for periods of time, but they can become over-sensationalized and therefore be overused. But one thing I notice is that although these workout programs, and a lot of them I write and I have on my website, although these workout programs are very effective for periods of time, there is a period of time where they are no longer effective because your body needs something else. And here is where the Deload Bliss Building program enters the picture. And that's the program I just wrote right now. And it's about building bliss and well-being in the body and accentuating its recuperation ability, along with establishing coordination and maintaining whatever muscle mass you have from your previous training program. So from doing the prescribed exercises in this training program, in the intensities that I prescribe and the frequency, you'll notice that there is some room for experimentation and, most importantly, enjoyment of training just for the sake of training itself. And because of this, once your body starts to recuperate from the intensities that you're using before in the previous training programs, you'll start to notice that there's another type of stimulation that also works in the body for building muscle mass. And I've touched on this before. What it is the immersion method, where you are immersing the body in a certain environment, but you're easing the stimulation onto it. You're not hitting it over the head with a sledgehammer, so to speak. You're basically giving it subtle stimulation, not so much that it breaks the body down, but if anything, it just stimulates it to maintain blood flow, maintain strength, and refine recuperation. So what you're trying to do is not tax the recuperation ability of the body whatsoever. You're not trying to tax the central nervous system or the immune system whatsoever. But what you're doing is giving the body something to realize that it needs to still be strong, but you're not giving it so much stimulation that you're breaking it down. And once you hit a wall of breakdown, it takes a certain period of time, or sometimes a long period of time, for the body to come back to its innate recuperation ability once again, right? So this is where the bliss building program came in, where I just heard a stick crack back there. I don't know what that was, but I'm close to the truck, so I should be okay. So this is where the bliss building program comes in, right? You're basically using poundages, which are extremely light, which I prescribe in the program. I'm giving you the frequency, and I'm also showing you how to vary up the exercises and therefore experiment also with your ranges of motion and techniques to make sure that you're optimally firing the muscles, but you're not beating them to death. So therefore you start to establish a greater level of coordination, because when you are fatigued, right? When you're fatigued, your coordination goes down. So the nature of this program is to not experience fatigue, but experience coordination constantly, along with using the proper range of motion or technique in order for you to establish a mind-muscle connection with the muscles you want to hit. So it's a genius program in the way that it rewires your brain into understanding that this is another form of stimulation that can also benefit you from the recuperation point of view. And also, when you walk out of the gym, you feel just as great as when you were training in the gym. You'll notice certain aches and pains that you've been carrying for a long period of time from the intense training programs start to just fade away. And you start to enjoy training from a different point of view again. And there's this well-being that you take with you outside the gym. Now, this increases motivation, increases your mindset around training, and also assists with recovery because your cortisol levels start to drop. Now, once you get back into intense training again, you are going to recover at a much better rate and be able to put on muscle mass once again or break through plateaus. But the whole point of this program is for you to stick to it for at least 3 weeks to a month. And by the time you're done this program, then you can get back into your intense training, and now you can start recovering again from it. And not only that, you may have noticed that you've refined some of your techniques around your training because you weren't so invested in lifting heavy at any cost all the time. You were forced into a period of time of just pure experimentation and just having a love affair with the tension and the weights and the exercises themselves, without constantly being fixated on the goal of increasing strength or reps or going so deep into failure that you lose coordination altogether. So that's really the focus of this training program, and it comes complete with a PDF along with an audio MP3 where I talk to you about these concepts and why I've prescribed what I prescribed in the program and how to mess around with it if you want to adjust it for your own body type and so forth. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today, is that there's different forms of stimulation and ways that you can create muscle mass and performance in the body, and it's not always from bludgeoning the body to death. You understand? Sometimes the easier approach is the more effective approach, at least for a period of time. And therefore, once it's time to be intense, then the body has a greater ability to deal with that. Mountain. So yeah, I hope this helps out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the patient supporters, and take care for now. Don't be breaking any more sticks back there. I know you're back there. Freaking monsters, eh? They think they can like just watch and get free advice, but not pay for it. It's like, who do they think they are? Freeloaders.
chocolate.